So now this is another option that people have talked about. And I've told them that you're not able to do that, it's gonna fail. I'm gonna show you why. All I did was take this pivot point, move it up 2 inches, or push the equalizer down 2 inches. When you're riding level, it represents the same thing as if I were to cut this hanger off and move it down 2 inches, just space the hanger down 2 inches. It's ultimately in people's minds, it's the same type of thing. Okay, so now, riding level, 2.5. Okay, so I went from 2 3/4 on the stock one to 2.5 of axle clearance on the aftermarket one. So that's what, 3/4 of an inch now? So yeah, that's great. At level, everything's working good. But now let's go to the extreme rotation. Now, I gotta be careful on which way I go first because the fail point on this is critical. It's extreme, it's super dangerous. Okay, so what's gonna happen is if you don't have a means to stop this travel right here, it's gonna rock too far. And when it rocks too far, it binds this spring into here between your wear pad and the bolt. Okay, I have to go this way first because when you go the other way, it's gonna completely fall out, even if you do have the hook springs. If we go this way, we drop this down, we got that. Now, let's rock it. So now you see what's happening. This is coming up. Now you look at this angle, it's twisting so bad. Right there, I'm locked out. Okay, right there, I'm binding. The spring is bound between the top. It's actually, if you look up inside of here, the spring is hitting the top of the equalizer and it's hitting the bottom of the bolt. So right there, it's bound up. Now you put so much leverage on this point, something's got to give. And I guarantee you that spring is not going to give. This is going to fail before that spring fails. So that spring is going to tear the equalizer completely apart. It's bound up. It can't go any farther. It can't even reach the travel all the way to the top. And then if you look back here, this spring is about to fall off of this bolt. So it's pulled all the way out this way. But either way, the bigger problem is the bind right here. So yeah, you do accomplish a little bit of axle clearance. Let's just say for conversation purposes, let's see where we're at. We're right back at the 2.5 we started with the stock equalizers. So the only way that's beneficial for you to do something like this is if you're riding level, you have to put something in there to stop this travel. It's a combination of all the geometry put together. All right, so now let's see what happens when you rock the other way, because that's where the big problem happens. We'll go down here. Okay, we'll get this out of the way. So now if we look at it and we look at the transfer, we just did the transfer up, right? And how it binds here. Now let's look at what happens when we go to transfer the load to the back. So I've already transferred the load. We're right back to our original height. Now watch this. Yeah. And even if this equalizer were longer, it's still going to bind the spring the other way before you get there. You have to stop the travel of the equalizer. Okay, so now we're to the Noma Fab equalizer. And this is how I come up with the geometry and how I figured it all out and why I do it the way I do it. Okay, because everybody's saying, now personally I don't like equalize. If it was up to me, I'd lock this out. I'd build a piece that locks in there. It's fixed and you wouldn't worry about it. But everybody wants to talk about, even though I just proved it wrong in the last couple of videos, I'm gonna prove it wrong in this one. You don't get that much more axle travel out of equalizers. Equalizers are nothing more than a cheat for the people that are too lazy to ride the trailers level. Okay, and I'm gonna prove it yet again. And you're not getting the travel that you think you're getting out of it. So here we are. I just did enough to take the slack out of the suspension. I'm not lifting the trailer's still sitting on there. This represents the trailer sitting level with not even the weight of the trailer on it. Okay, so here we go. We're at about 3 1/8. Just to make sure, same thing on this side. Okay, our equalizer's level. This represents towing it level. So now we're gonna do the same thing. We'll transfer the load. Okay, I can go either way with this one. So I'll drop this one down. I'll pick this one up, all right? And now I'll pick this up. I'm gonna put a little pressure on this to take up a little bit of the slack until I see it start coming off there to give it at least the weight of the trailer is all on this one axle. Okay, so I picked it up so it's off of the frame here. This is the full weight of the trailer, of this corner of the trailer on this one axle, all right? And I'm at 2.5 inches. right? This represents my axle sitting in the trailer at the top of the U-bolts. Okay, so even with the equalizer bottomed out, right, and you still see we have play over here. Now, if you look at the difference, the angle difference, I'm pretty sure you can ride, this is riding pretty out of level right now. So even if you lazy guys want to continue to ride out of level, when it locks out, when this locks and stops, and when this is all the way up, I still have 2.5 inches of clearance. As we always talk about, I want at least 2.5 inches of clearance here right now. I've just proven about how the stock equalizers, by the time you get to this point on a stock equalizer, you have less than an inch of clearance. That's why you're bottoming out on the frame. So the way I developed this whole thing, it locks out the travel as well as pushing the spring down. And I don't see any reason on this particular setup, on a 2-inch slipper spring setup, I don't see it traveling more than 2.5 inches. If it does, I'll be surprised, and I'll make another equalizer setup for it. But I guarantee you already, just with this setup here, on a straight swap from a stock one, I've already given you over 1.5 inches extra axle clearance in the travel. So here, we'll even bottom this out right here too. Everybody's talking about how much travel you get, like the difference. So we figured the difference on a stock equalizer, the height difference from the frame, which represents the spindle. If I have this side's bottomed out, the slack is taken off of this side. So it's an accurate measurement. 2.5 here, less than 3.5 here. You're less than 1 inch of difference. And even that much transition, you're less than 1 inch of difference in the suspension travel. So, even with equalizers, because with the stock equalizer, that measured out to be 1.25 inches. So even with a stock equalizer, you're still at only 3.5 inches total travel with a stock equalizer that you're getting out of any slipper spring setup, 2-inch slipper spring setup. So I don't know where you guys are getting, like you're getting all this extra travel from to go off-roading with or on construction sites or whatever other nonsense everybody's coming up with. Tape measure doesn't lie. I'm doing it right here, right now. Explain to me where you're getting the extra 4 or 5 inches of travel that you talk about to do all this off-roading and stuff, because when I do it, I'm physically doing it right here. It's not possible. The geometry doesn't allow it to be possible. So show me how you're doing it, because I'd love to learn, and I'd love to start using this high travel, this long travel suspension kit for these trailers that everybody's talking about. So now we've already verified this to be 2.5 inches. And ultimately this setup, the combination of all this, is the same thing, but significantly cheaper than cutting these hangers off, building a full subframe, and dropping this hanger down 2 inches and using a stock equalizer. The other thing is you can rebuild mine. Grind the weld up, you can punch the centerpiece out, punch this wear mark out. It's gonna take forever to wear through it. But once you do wear through it, grind the weld down, punch it out, put a new one in there, you can keep using it. This one is gonna, 9 times out of 10, they're on rubber bushing. So it's gonna beat the rubber bushing out of it before you beat this out of it. And if it doesn't, then you can always weld a sleeve over there with the 9/16 bolt holes in it and beat that hole out of it too. So you got a reusable equalizer that's operating the same way. It's just giving you the proper axle clearance. So what we'll do is we'll shift it back the other way. So we got 2.5 on this side. Let's just make sure I do things like I know I figured out the geometry, right? So we'll go this way with it now, just to make sure, all right? So we'll do the same thing. Take the stock out, simulate it the other way, all right? I'll even pick the trailer up. The trailer's coming off the lifts over here. So this one's even carrying more load than the other one. We're at 2.5 still, a little bit more, 1/8 more than 2.5, 2 5/8. And then over here, same thing, a little less than 3.5. So it's the same, no matter which way it's rocking, you're getting the same axle clearance on both ends. So ultimately what's been created here is, instead of having to cut the hanger off and drop it down, I've now created a bolt-on solution to get the axle clearances that I've been preaching about for over a year publicly and privately 20 years. All right, so this is something that you can just take it out. When you're replacing your axles, you put this in and you address your axle clearance problems, and you're not gonna have all the situations with it bottoming out on the frame anymore. So if in the future somebody comes out with a knockoff version of it or something of that nature, I'd appreciate it if you consider your boy and get the stuff from me, because I was the one looking out for you guys to begin with and creating solutions for the problem instead of just changing parts out and continuing to let everybody get screwed. Keep me in mind when you're doing all that.
OG. You ready?
I guess. You tell me this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I gotta try this shit out, so let's try it out. Let's look at this again, and we'll see how this relates to the real world. So this is the equalizer I just developed that we're talking about for all these 2-inch wide slipper springs, okay? And we talked about how it saves your axle clearance. Even when it's bottomed out, you still have 2.5 inches of axle clearance. So now I'm gonna go show you a real world application out there that we can see where this bolt-on solution is gonna work in more places than just this one. So here we are, let's look at this practical example right here. This is where these glasses come into play, hopefully, I don't know, we'll see. Look at right here. If you look right here, right above the frame. Now they put this channel, this is why I say they're shimming this down to get enough clearance for the tires that are still hitting up there. Okay, so that's what their attempt is. And if you look right here, that's what they're attempting to do, is get more axle clearance here. And I'm going to show you another trailer why I say shimming the equalizers is better than the shimming the hangers. But anyways, if you look at here, this one's bent, that one's hitting, that one's hitting, and that one's hitting. All 4 of them are hitting. They're all bottoming out on the frame. None of them have enough axle clearance. But the equalizers I just built are gonna fix that. Looks like he's got some loose U-bolts over there too. Oh, and since I'm sure some of you are gonna pick it up, look at that. That's pretty cool too. For all you guys talking about how they used to do stuff properly, this is a 2017. I didn't make up all this stuff out of nowhere. It's the evolution I've seen over the years of what's going on. So I tell everybody, it'd be better, this is a stock equalizer, it'd be better if they shim the equalizer and stop the travel of the equalizer to get your tire clearance up here, right? So we have 3 inches of tire clearance over here. And if we look over here, 2 3/4 of an inch with it bottomed out. So this is what I'm talking about when I say limit the travel of the equalizer instead of putting stoppers or welding these goofy blocks into the bottom of the frame. There's no reason for it. You can see here, this is a 2017. It's been beaten on here for a while. This bushing probably has to get changed out. It's never once hit, and nor is this frame bent. So all this stuff that you guys talk about why these blocks are protecting the frame and keeping the axle travel, all you have to do is put a little block in the equalizer and it does the same thing. You people think I'm crazy or that I'm talking stuff that I don't know, that hasn't been done 100 times before, but why are they evolving backwards in this industry? This is the easiest way to do it. This is only the second trailer besides a Gator trailer I've seen they've done this. So what's the reasoning for that? Love to hear it.